That was beautiful, Jaime. Thank you so much. Good morning.
Good morning.
Buenos días. Welcome and bienvenidos to the First Unitarian Universalist Church of San Antonio. Our weekly worship is where we connect, share information and inspiration. My name is Ruth Bujanda-Moore, and I have been a member here since 2010, shortly after my husband Lito and I moved from Los Angeles back to our Texas roots. Both of our children, Aiden, now 23, and Dante, now 20, were brought up in this church family and the wonderful religious education program. Lito and I are immensely grateful for the RE program and other programs at this church. In years past, I have served as a religious education teacher and have been on the Youth Religious Education Committee. Currently, I am a proud member of our church choir and serve as one of your trusted Board of Trustees. Our faith is all-inclusive, and all means all, y'all. We strive to enact a universal love that binds us in mutual care and affection, especially in our work for justice for our planet and all its people. Let us bring to mind the many different homelands of our ancestors and be grateful that we can join here in beloved community, owing in part to their journeys. Let us recognize that San Antonio, also called Yanaguana, is the homeland of the Coahuiltecan, whose people have lived here for over 8,000 years. Their descendants, knowledge keepers of this area, still struggle for the right to participate in decisions that affect their people, property, and sacred heritage sites. We invite those who are visiting today to rise so that we can see you and greet you. Thank you. If you're interested in becoming a member of this community, just ask any member or staff member to help you. If you are new or visiting us for the first time today, we welcome you to fill out a yellow visitor's card. We'd like to get to know you and follow up with you. Wherever you are on your life's journey, we hope you will find your place with us. We reserve the last 2 rows of pews for visitors, latecomers, and those who are mobility challenged. We want to ensure that everyone can find a place to sit easily. We also have designated parking spots for visitors and ask members to respect leaving those spaces available. Each Sunday, we greet each other so that we might know who is journeying with us. Please take this moment to turn to one another and greet your travel companions. A Blessing of Darkness and Light by Zucker Morgenstern. Blessed is the dark in which our dreams stir and are revealed. Blessed is the dark of earth where seeds come to life. Blessed are the depths of the ocean where no light shimmers, the womb of all earthly life. Blessed is the light into which we awake, the light that sparkles on the waters, that calls the tree forth from the seed and calls the shadow forth from the tree. Blessed are we as we move through darkness and through light. I ask that you rise in body or in spirit to sing hymn number 226 in our gray hymnals, People Look East. Our cellist lighter today is Mr. Tim Versteeg. Tim grew up in a small town in Ontario, Canada. He has a BA in English, a BEd in teaching English and history, and finished all but a second language requirement of a Master's of English Literature. He has lived in England and northern Manitoba, traveled to New Zealand, spent over a decade selling pet food, and was a stay-at-home parent for his daughter and 2 sons for over a decade. He has been a religious educator for the last 6 years in Hamilton, Ontario. He had never been to Texas before moving here 2 months ago. And we're so grateful that he did. And now it is time to recite our covenant that articulates our promises and binds us together. Please read together, first in English, then again in Espanol. Love is the doctrine of this church, the quest of truth is its sacrament, and service is its prayer. To dwell together in peace, to seek knowledge in freedom, to serve humanity in fellowship, to the end that all souls shall grow into harmony with the divine. Thus do we covenant with each other. And now en español. El amor es la doctrina de esta iglesia. Su sacramento es la búsqueda de la verdad y su oración es el servicio. Convivir en paz, dar sabiduría en libertad, dar a la humanidad nuestro servicio fraternal para que todas las almas crezcan en armonía con la divinidad. Así pactamos el uno con el otro. Gracias.
As you can see, the choir has dressed in solidarity with Sheri's theme today, dark skies. I've been asked to read just a little bit of the lyrics to the song we're going to sing. There are oceans you must cross. There are races you must run. You will fall, you will rise, you will soar through the skies. Your new day has just begun, and when darkness closes around you, I will send my love to surround you. I will sing you the stars. Lift up your eyes wherever you are. You are not alone. Love will call you home. I will sing you the stars.
There are oceans Thank you, choir, for that beautiful anthem. Good morning. In the Unitarian Universalist religion, we light one common chalice each week to create a sacred space for the weekly service. The flame of the common chalice reminds us of our Unitarian Universalist values of reason, community, and hope. In our church, we also offer the opportunity to light specific individual candles, and these candles represent the struggles and joys of our individual lives. So if you have a special life event or situation that you would like to honor this morning, be it a joy or a sorrow, or some of each, we invite you to come down the side aisles to light a candle and return to your seat by the center aisle. from the Book of Life. Happy birthday to someone who is cheerfulness personified, Felice Barrows. The flowers today were donated by Maggie Joseph in memory of her dear friend Sally Dunlap. And please remember and pray for the people of Georgia who are protesting for freedom and security. And now let us have a moment of silence for all the joys and sorrows among us, be they spoken or unspoken. Blessed be.
Good morning. My name is Tim Versteeg. I'm the Director of Lifespan Religious Education at our church, and I'd like to invite the children and youth and young at heart to come up to hear today's story. Come on down. Hey. So today's story is called The Everything Seed, and it's a story of beginnings, and it's written by a friend of mine, Reverend Carol Martinaco, who is now retired but was a minister at North Hatley in Quebec at the same time she was sharing a ministry in the First Universalist parish of Derby Line in northern Vermont. So she was a cross-border minister for many, many years. And I have some lovely memories of Reverend Carol doing the child dedication of my youngest son, who is now 17, so it was a while ago. I'm not sure if you're going to be able to see the pictures there, but you can always look at the screen.
I can.
Not if I hold it that way. Have you ever watched a seed grow? Okay, make sure everybody can see, however you want to look. Have you ever noticed how it begins so small, so still, so quiet, like a gift wanting to be opened? And how slowly it wakes up, begins to unfold, growing into something larger and larger and larger. Then you know that whatever comes from a seed usually ends up looking very little like the seed it came from, which is also true of the very first seed. Once, long ago, way back in the beginning, so long ago there was no such thing as time because there was no one there to count it. Everywhere was a huge, deep, mysterious place, like something waiting to happen. There were no stars, no sun or moon. There was no place like Earth, not a drop of water or a single tree or rock or flower, and no living beings anywhere. But in that deep waiting space was hidden the tiniest point of something no bigger than a seed. It was not a flower seed. It was not an oak tree seed. It was not a seed of corn, although all those things were included in this seed. You might call it an everything seed, because that is what it became. No one knows where that first seed came from, or how it was planted, or how it knew, in the way that only seeds seem to know, how long to wait for just the right moment to sprout and grow. But all at once, this tiny seed, cradled and nourished in the rich soil of space, woke up, broke open, and began to unfold. Unfolding, unfolding, and blossoming forth into an enormous, blazing ball of bright light. Like a great-grandmother's son. And the universe was born.
Wait, let me see.
Out fluttered the galaxies, like a storm of snowflakes swirling and gathering into the brightest, most blindingly beautiful clouds of stars. And out of those star clouds whirled our own star, the one we call the sun, and our Earth and our moon and all the round spinning planets we have learned how to name. And this is the secret of that tiny seed. You and I were there from the very beginning. Just as the idea for each leaf on a big oak tree lies hidden inside an acorn, we were there with all the stars and planets, all the rocks and oceans, plants and animals and people. Everything that is now, ever was, or ever will be, was inside that first tiny seed.
So the seed made the universe?
That was what was at the start. So, whenever you hold a seed in your hand and wonder what it could become, imagine how you and all that is here once came from the tiniest speck of an everything seed before it sprouted and grew long, long ago in the way back beginning of time. Now, if this were an ordinary story, it would end right here. But this is the story of the universe, and the universe keeps unfolding. What once began in a blazing blossom of light continues every day. New stars sprout open in the deep soil of space. New plants and animals appear on the earth. Seeds of many kinds are scattered everywhere to help us remember. And new people are born every day, and the spark of that first light, still alive and burning deep inside, waiting, like the everything seed, to shine in ways that are yet to be known. And that's the end of our story today. So, what time is it? What time is it to do?
Playground time?
Playground time, you got it. So Absidy and Halen will be at the back waiting for you.
Our reading this morning is Celebrating the Darkness by Jean von Rue. Traditionally, Advent is a time of searching for light in the dark. The tradition of Yule is celebrated by pagans for the return of the sun. But darkness is as important as light. The cold dark of winter is as important to life as the bright warmth of summer. Darkness is home to entire ecosystems, places where humans cannot survive. Darkness offers us the gift of rest, healing, and hope. It is in the darkness of sleep that our bodies are able to heal and rejuvenate. Darkness offers opportunities for beauty and love to live in our lives. Conception begins in the womb, and a great prophet was born at night. And the vastness of the universe can only be seen on the darkest of nights. So let us welcome the night. Let us give thanks for the life, rest, healing, hope, love, and beauty that are offered to us only in the darkness. Come, beautiful souls, and let us embrace the darkness together.
Just watch the smoke rings rise in the air. You'll find your share of memories there. So dream when the day is through. Dream and they might come true. Things never are as bad as they seem. So dream, dream, So dream when the day is through. Dream and they might come true. Things never are as bad as they seem. So dream, dream,
Thank you, Westneys. Wow. So, there are few things in life that I find more enchanting than the beauty of a light shining in the darkness. That may be why, for me, Christmas is one of my favorite times of the year. My family and I have a tradition of driving the streets in our neighborhood in the week or so before Christmas, and we admire the lights, and we make notes about our favorite displays so that we can vote responsibly in the neighborhood lighting contest. And if anyone here has never been to the Riverwalk at night, I really encourage you to go. Yes, it can be crowded in places, but the lights are lovely and they extend into the less crowded areas. And almost every year, for many years, my family and I have attended Christmas Eve services here at First UU San Antonio. And every year, the highlight for me is always when we each light a candle from each other's candle, and then someone turns out the lights, and we all sing Silent Night together. The sanctuary full of those glowing lights and the darkness always instills in me a sense of reverence. And other times of the year also afford opportunities to enjoy the beauty of a light shining in the darkness. A starry night is lovely anytime, any place, but especially during a new moon, when the lack of competing moonlight helps the stars stand out more clearly, and or in a dark sky park, where human-made light has been kept to a minimum. I'm also partial to the beauty of a simple campfire, preferably, but not necessarily with s'mores. For us humans, an appreciation of lights shining in darkness may be more than just aesthetic. As diurnal or day-dwelling creatures, we humans tend to see danger in darkness. and safety in light. The common saying, "There's a light at the end of the tunnel," illustrates this. And this point makes me think of one of the prettiest, if not the prettiest song in the musical Rocky Horror Picture Show. "In the velvet darkness of the blackest night, burning bright, there's a guiding star. No matter what or who you are, there's a light." Over at the Frankenstein place. "There's a light burning in the fireplace. There's a light in the darkness of everybody's life." Now, the characters who sing that song, they interpret the light as a promise of safety and rescue. And I myself used to be afraid of the dark. I remember being frightened just walking from my bedroom to the den of my house if the lights weren't on. It's probably a primal instinct. Our ancestors needed to be wary of predators that roamed the night. Whoever tamed fire for the first time, for cooking maybe, might have found it a great relief that they could also now see into those dark places where a tiger might be lurking. And even in modern days, lights at night are important for safety for humans. We have lights on our cars and our bicycles, and we even have light-up shoes and armbands for jogging. We even need light for our health. You may have heard of seasonal affective disorder, or SAD, which mostly affects people in northern climates. And what is one major treatment for SAD? Light therapy. So the love affair between humans and light isn't without its occasional irritations. Have you ever flicked your lights at someone whose high beams are blinding you? Light in the wrong place or in the wrong quantity or aimed in the wrong direction at the wrong time can be very irritating. For several years, I volunteered as a camp counselor at U-Bar-U, and we did some fun things at night, like night hikes and star parties, but I remember repeating very, very often, "Aim your flashlight down. I know you want to see where your friends are. I know you want to see where I am, but please do not shine your flashlight into people's faces." And if you've ever been to an astronomical viewing where people are looking through telescopes, you know that the cardinal rule is no white light. A few years ago, I was at a star party, and I had to leave early, and I was driving a car that I had borrowed, and I couldn't figure out how to turn off the lights. So I had to drive towards some astronomers before I could turn off onto the exit road. And oh my gosh, you would have thought that I had just robbed a bank, and they were screaming at me because they thought I was going to escape. And they were justifiably irritated. I just hoped they didn't recognize me or the car. So you don't have to be an astronomer to be affected by an overabundance of nighttime light. If you want to see truly brilliant stars, you have to travel to a dark sky park or other isolated area. I read that in 1994, when an earthquake knocked out the power in Los Angeles, local emergency centers got calls reporting a strange, giant, silvery light in the dark sky. What these people were seeing for the first time in their lives was the Milky Way, which had long been obliterated by the urban sky glow. So if we creatures of the light can be negatively affected by light pollution, imagine the effect on other creatures who are more dependent on the rhythms of alternating darkness and daylight. And here's an example that I find poignant. Every year on September 11th, there's a special tribute at the 9/11 Memorial. 2 beams of light. They're blue light. It's shown from the top of the Memorial Museum parking garages. They are composed of 88 7,000-watt xenon light bulbs, and they reach up to 4 miles high. Now, as a person who appreciates the beauty of light in the darkness, I believe that is very beautiful, and I'm sure I would find it just awe-inspiring if I were to see it in person. But those lights are often also deadly. So imagine yourself in this situation. You need to drive from point A to point B, and you have just enough gas to get there, no more. And there are no filling stations on the way. There is no plan B. If you run out of gas, you're stuck. So you go on your way, and you get into one of those traffic circles. And the traffic is so bad, you're caught going around and around, and you can't get out. Maybe you're stuck for 5 minutes. Maybe you're stuck until you run out of gas. But even if it's just 5 minutes, you may no longer have the ability to get where you're going. And now imagine yourself as a migrating bird. You have a grueling, hundreds of miles long journey ahead of you, and you have just enough energy to get there. So on your way, you suddenly see a bright blue light. And due to an innate quality in yourself that human scientists call phototaxis, you must fly into the light. It's an instinct. So you fly into the light and you are blinded. You have no idea how to get out of the light. You might fly out the other side, or you might fly around and around inside until you fall to your death exhausted, or until your energy is so depleted that you'll die later on your journey. And this is what happened to tens of thousands of birds when those 9/11 memorial lights got turned on, until the conservationists got involved. Now, volunteers lie on their backs on the roof of the museum, and they count the birds in the light. And when the number of birds reaches 1,000, they switch off the lights for 20 minutes so the birds can escape and they can fly on. And of course, once per year, 9/11 lights are not the only hazard of nighttime lighting. Migrating birds are routinely confused during passage by brightly lit communication towers and other structures. Glenn Phillips, executive director of the New York City Audubon Society, says that each year in New York City alone, about 10,000 migratory birds are injured or killed, crashing into skyscrapers and high-rise buildings. The estimates as to the number of birds dying from collisions across North America usually range from 98 million to close to 1 billion. The U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service estimates 5 to 50 million birds die each year from collisions with communication towers. And birds, of course, are not the only victims of human-made nighttime lighting. Baby sea turtles, they follow the glimmer of light from the water to find the sea. And when there are lights coming from other directions, they often can't find it. They become disoriented and move in the wrong direction. They become easy prey for night predators, or they just die from exhaustion, never reaching their natural home. Remains of dead baby sea turtles have actually been found in beach campfires that people have failed to extinguish. The negative effects of light pollution for sea turtles can start well before the hatching of babies. Mama sea turtles can also be led astray by lights, wandering onto highways and getting hit by cars, or just deciding that the beach is too brightly lit to lay eggs. And it's not just birds and sea turtles. Frogs like to call their mates in darkness. And in the presence of too much light, they sometimes just decide to stay single, which is not good for the frog population. And bats love the dark also. They feed at night using echolocation to spot their prey, and light disorients them and affects their ability to feed. Now, if you had asked me before I did my research to guess what percentage of species are nocturnal, I would have guessed about 20%. And I would have been right about primates. But apparently, almost all small rodents and carnivores and 80% of marsupials are nocturnal. There seems to be less information about the effects of light pollution on plants, but it does seem that artificial lights can prevent many trees from adjusting to natural seasonal cycles, and that can affect the animals that rely on them for food and shelter. And let's go back to humans for a second. Yes, humans are diurnal, meaning we are active in the daytime, and I've mentioned the negative effects when we don't get enough daylight, but we also need our periods of darkness. Studies have linked an absence of darkness to not at night, like with nurses who are working on a brightly lit floor in a hospital. It's been linked with lower melatonin levels, which in turn are linked with breast and prostate cancer. In a recent article in The Atlantic, writer Ed Yong talked about both light and noise pollution, and he introduced a word that I had been unfamiliar with. It's a German word, Umwelt, defined as the world as it is experienced by a particular organism. It's probably not news to anyone that different species experience the world in different ways. Remember the horror movie The Fly? When the camera shows the fly looking at its victim, you see lots of little screaming faces, one for each little eye that the fly has. And when you or I meet a friend, we most likely recognize them by sight. When a dog meets a friend, they are more likely to recognize the friend by smell. Imagine how your world would be different if you lost your ability to see most colors, but your smell was enhanced by 40 times. Then you would have a taste of the Umwelt of a dog. And my third example of an Umwelt is just speculation. We humans, who are biological day creatures, we set our horror stories on dark and stormy nights. I imagine that if a super intelligent owl or bat were to compose a horror story, they might set it on a bright and sunny day. So the idea that different species experience the world in different ways was not new to me, but what was sort of new was the idea that sharing this planet, or we might say affirming and promoting the independent web of existence of which we are a part, requires a greater appreciation of these differences than the human species has shown so far. I'm sure that the people who were involved in the design and implementation of the Tribute to Light had no idea about the effect that their light would have on the birds, and why should they? No one probably told them to think about what they were doing from the perspective of the birds. Young, in the article, describes sensory pollution as the pollution of disconnection. He says it detaches us from the cosmos. This would be the opposite of affirming the independent web. And here's some good news. Light pollution is one of the easiest kinds to combat. There are lots of simple, inexpensive things each of us can personally do. We can replace bright lights with soft white lights, and we can use shaded fixtures and direct light where it's needed. We can even save money and reduce light pollution by just turning off unnecessary outdoor lights. And if you want to be more of an activist, you can ask local businesses to use night sky friendly lighting. The idea of Umwelten in the natural world makes me think about the UU values of justice and inclusion among humans. We encourage people of dominant identities to try to see things more from the perspectives of people with marginalized identities. This involves an openness to being educated and a willingness to change entrenched patterns of thought. I believe what Ed Yong is encouraging us to do in his Atlantic article is to do the same thing as regards the natural world. He points out that humans are the only creatures who are able to recognize the Umwelt of their own species and to observe and speculate about the Umwelten of other species. This is a gift and a challenge. He also says that to perceive the world through other senses is to find splendor in familiarity and the sacred in the mundane. I believe that finding splendor in the familiar and sanctity in the mundane is a theological imperative for most UUs. Most UUs don't dream of a heaven in the next world. We believe in celebrating and conserving and improving the world as it is. So let's add preserving dark skies to our list of imperatives. Blessed be, amen. And I think now we go straight to invitation to generosity. I've heard it said that money is the root of all evil. I myself am a fan. The employees of this church like to be paid with it. When the electric bill comes due, we can't offer spiritual counseling or UU wisdom as payment. The electric company wants money. So if you believe that money is the root of all evil, now is the time when you can free yourself of this terrible thing. But if, like me, you're a fan, now is the time to show how much this church means to you by offering what you can in support of this church. For those of you viewing online, we invite you to donate online on our website, and the link should be in your chat stream. And if you're in the sanctuary, you can donate in the baskets or scan the QR code, which is in one of the little cards in the pews. Would the ushers please come forward? May the fruit of these gifts nurture us and all who come after us. We bless these gifts and bless the givers. May it be so. So it's been holiday season for a while now. Black Friday is in the rearview mirror. And now on this first Sunday of December of Advent, it is hitting us that some of us are hardly prepared for all the things that will be expected of us in the next 25 days. We may be expected to give thoughtful gifts to each of several dozen friends and family members. We may be expected to host or organize holiday events. We may be asked to help the less fortunate, however fortunate or unfortunate we ourselves may be. Those who are parents may be expected to host or organize holiday events. And those of us who are parents may be expected to present to the world well-groomed children with combed hair and matching outfits. As Unitarian Universalists, we may be expected to spread holiday cheer without slowing down on our social justice work. And whatever others may expect of us, many of us have even greater expectations of ourselves. So my wish for each one of you this holiday season is that you will take care of yourselves, take care of others as you can, and take care of yourselves as you must. Give the gift card instead of the thoughtfully selected gift. Bring H-E-B cookies to the party instead of making them yourself. And parents, we'll love your kids just as much if they have disheveled hair and dirt on their faces. Amen, blessed be. And it looks like we have a closing hymn, View the Starring Well, number 28. Yeah, so that final hymn wasn't on my template, so let's go straight to postlude. Go in peace.